Hello everyone, it's James here at Full Fat 4x4. A quick update video today just about the Range Rovers on the drive. Also going to talk a little bit about car security and a few of the jobs that I've been up to with the cars in stock. Before we get into the updates, shameless pitch, Full Fat 4x4 is always looking for L322s to buy, especially 4.4 TDV8s. If you'd like to sell yours, please drop me an email. My email's in the description below. Right then, let's have a chat about some cars, shall we? We're going to start with the 62 plate Westminster behind me. To recap from the previous video, this car has 83,000 miles on it, a full service history, and kind of a bit rare for an L322. Most of that service history is on the Land Rover OSH portal. So for those of you who don't know, OSH stands for Online Service History, and it's a very handy sort of Land Rover initiative to get all of the service history of a vehicle online, and it's really quite good. So yeah, really nice to see most of the history on that car is on OSH. But all was not well with this car when it arrived into stock, and as with quite a few of the cars that come into stock, and I think it's probably fair to say most cars have a story. And as with all stories, they're either a happy story or a sad story. Now, I think the story behind this car is probably one a lot of you can relate to, and it's certainly one that I can relate to. You take your car into a garage with one thing wrong, and it comes back with another thing wrong. And that's what happened with this car. The offending article was one of the handbrake backing plates, or I should probably just say the backing plates. Now, this is the rear subframe to this vehicle, and you'll notice that the hub has been removed. Now, in the hub, there is a backing plate, and the backing plate is what carries most of, if not all, the handbrake components. The backing plate on this vehicle had rusted through, and it wasn't really mounted to anything, so that's what it went into the garage for. Now, all of the handbrake components on the would be the left-hand side, so over there, were removed by the garage. Fair enough, keeps the car serviceable, and they pulled the fuse out of the electronic parking brake module. All well and good so far. However, there are two fuses on the electronic parking brake module, and the garage only pulled one, which meant that the EPB was still functional. Now, at some point, what's happened is that the lever has been pulled, basically with the handbrake not attached to anything, and what that has then done is stripped all the gears inside the EPB. Back to this subframe then, why is it off the car? Well, the EPB sits basically right here, and to get access to it, you have to drop the subframe. With this particular vehicle, it's no bad thing getting that subframe off. This car has spent most of its life in northern England where the roads are salty, so it was always going to be part of the plan to give this particular vehicle a really good inspection underneath to make sure that there was nothing untoward with respect to rust. I'm really pleased to say that after removing the subframe and having a good poke around, everything is still good and solid. And I was a little bit worried that we might have to do a bit of welding on this car, but with the trusty screwdriver test, I'm putting a lot of weight up against that, it is all still solid. And it's the same story around the rest of the arch and the underbody. And that is good news, because the last time I had a welding job on my hands was a 1989 classic Range Rover, and being an exceptionally shrewd businessman, I managed to lose the best part of £3,000 on that car after I'd done all of the welding and got it all back together. So I'm quite pleased to kind of, having assessed this vehicle, I know for a fact it doesn't need any welding. And that brings me on to these subframes. Now, this doesn't look like it's in the best condition. However, I have seen worse on other cars. And credit to Land Rover, and probably I would say some of the BMW engineers of the time, they have made this, or rather they have specified that this is made of exceptionally thick steel. Now, I think that some of the thicknesses on these is probably near enough a quarter inch, so somewhere between 4 and 6 millimeters on some parts of this, which I think is a real testament to specifying things properly. And I don't really think that modern cars necessarily get this level of specification in terms of steel, certainly to keep the weight down and all that kind of good stuff. It's certainly been an eye-opener, this job, and thankfully I've had quite a bit of help to get to this stage. But it's not a job that I would rush back to doing in a hurry. And whilst I've got the subframe off, I'm taking the opportunity to give the underbody a really good clean and also wax oil it with, well, with wax oil. That is then the Orkney grey car. Once the rear subframe is back on with remanufactured hubs, the electronic parking brake fixed, there's then a few other jobs that I need to do on that. So the auxiliary belt is squeaking, so that needs to be replaced, and then it needs to get the usual treatment, so full drive oil service, and just find out if there's anything else wrong with it. But I do have hope, because before it was all disassembled, it was driving really nicely and felt very tight. So once it's all back together, I'm confident it's going to be a really good car. Next on the update list is the Nara Bronze Vogue SE. Now this is the one with the Arabica brown interior. And it conveniently brings me on to today's video sponsor, TDV8. TDV8 manufacture anti-theft devices for cars. Let's go and have a look, shall we? The reason that I agreed to take this sponsorship opportunity with TDV8 is that I do actually think that their product is kind of innovative. So this is what it looks like. And as you can see, it loops around the steering wheel and then connects into the seatbelt anchor. Now, without the key, you cannot remove that. And that would be a bit tricky to remove. Now, admittedly, I do think you could probably cut that with a set of bolt cutters, but it's all about layering security. So if you have one of these, plus let's say a wheel clamp, plus some other security device, it certainly helps reduce the chance of your car being stolen. Now, what I really like about this product is that when you are ready to remove it, it's really straightforward and simple. I can do that one-handed, and then basically, certainly in the L322, I can just stuff it into the door lock, jump in, and I'm away. In one of the previous videos, I announced the TDV8 giveaway. It wasn't really actually very well received, I suspect probably because people didn't know what the hell the product was. But if you would like to win this product, please comment TDV8 in the comments below. That's TEVLAPHEE. When I had my first L322, which was sort of 2020 come 2021, I used a disc lock device to secure the car. And whilst I had really high confidence that the disc lock product would be very difficult to cut off and would certainly take burglars some time to remove, I found it quite an inconvenient product, and I never really knew where to stow it. Whereas with this solution, I feel like I could either stick it in one of the door bins or even put it in the glove box. If you like the look of the TDV8 product, I will put the purchase link in the description below. A bit more then on the subject of car theft. Now, some of you may be aware that most cars in the UK are stolen to order, mostly by organised criminal gangs. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know many oligarchs who say to their crime syndicate, "Now then, comrade criminal, please go and steal me a 2010 to 2012 4.4 TDV8 L322. I just can't imagine them saying that. On the other hand, I can imagine them targeting the latest and greatest of the Range Rover lineup. And I read a really awful story the other day about a chap who'd had his brand new Range Rover and it was stolen from Leamington Spa just 2 days after he purchased it. My view then on theft and how to prevent it, I think it's all about layering your security. So having things like a house alarm, CCTV, bollards or an electric gate, a really big dog that's properly mean. All these things help to deter criminals and make theft more inconvenient, and they're more likely to just move on to a softer target. Those are my thoughts on security, but I would certainly be interested to learn from you guys in the comments below how you protect your cars from theft. Right then, back onto the meat and potatoes. So I think I mentioned in a previous video, this car has got a bloody great big hole in the subframe, front subframe. It's rusted through. In fact, I might even try and just quickly show you what I'm on about, because it really is quite bad. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, there. Look at that. Nasty, right? So, the plan for this car then is that it's going to go up on a 2-post lift. The front subframe is going to be removed. We'll be supporting the engine first. Then it's hubs off, drive shafts out. You name it, it's all coming out, and it's going to be replaced with this remanufactured front subframe. Now, I've bought this from a chap called Steve, and Steve runs a business called Steve's Steel, and he specialises in remanufacturing bits for old ropey Range Rovers. to get them brand spanking new and shiny again. So yeah, that's the plan for the bronze car. We'll be getting that on. That having been said, I think that project is going to wait. I'm certainly going to be getting the Orkney grey car finished first, because I just think it's quite poor practice to have too many projects on the go at once. And that leads me on to the blue 07 3.6 Vogue. That is still in the unit. It's not gone anywhere. There will be some content on that at some point. Some of you will also remember the Ipanema Sand autobiography car from a previous video. That is sold. It's just having a few bits and pieces done to it before the owner collects it. And I have another Ipanema Sand, this time a Westminster, but also has the Arabica brown interior. So yeah, well, I guess unfortunately, this car is also sold. It didn't even get a chance to advertise it before somebody inquired on it. Took it for a test drive and agreed to buy it. But it needs a few things doing to it, as they all seem to. Starter motor, new battery. We've done a couple of suspension arms and a ball joint. Full engine service, drive oils. You name it, it will get the full treatment. But just whilst I'm here, I've got to say I absolutely love Ipanema Sand, especially in this time of day. It's sort of 3-ish, and I just think that the shimmer that you get across the Ipanema Sand is just absolutely gorgeous. It's such a lovely colour scheme. You know, the Ipanema Sand with the Arabica interior, I really, really like it. And, you know, I think you can keep your green cars that, you know, replicate Queen and Clarkson and all that kind of good stuff. I think is all about Ipanema Sand. But then equally my friends call me a tasteless fool, so what do I know? And just to finish with a few words on the Jaguar. Well, we've now had this for over a month and we've put about 1,000 miles on it. And, well, I have to say I really quite like it. It is a bit of an adjustment though, especially when you go from an L322 stepping inside the Jaguar. It's a very, very different driving experience. I think if there's demand for it, I'll probably do a video, an update video, you know, after 2 or 3 months of ownership of the Jaguar. So let me know if you want to hear more about Britain's favourite neutered cat car brand in the comments below. And as always, thank you all so much for your support and subscribing to the channel. I still can't really get over that I've got over 3,000 subscribers. It's a very humbling sort of figure. I would like to carry on growing the channel, and it would be great if one day I could perhaps even do a Range Rover giveaway. So yeah, stay tuned. Well, that's it for today's update video, short and sweet. Once again, thank you for tuning in, and hope you have a fabulous February, because I don't know about you, but I feel like January has been a right drag. Take care, bye.